Hello again, welcome back to our show. This is the final show of the week. This is What the Hell Is This? Wild Wild West. Yep, this is the Will Smith, Barry Sonnenfeld disaster from 1999. A year that had lots of films that worked. This is a year that was viewed as a very good year for film. Apart from a few exceptions like, you know, The Haunting remake and this. This is a disaster. I mean, this was like the big disaster of the year. I mean, there were other films. I mean, Phantom Menace came out and I get some slack from the fans, but that looks amazing compared to this one. This one's a total disaster. But it's an interesting disaster, so that's why I'm going at what the hell is this, because it's like, there are nice bits in there, it's just that the whole film doesn't work for lots of reasons. So it's based on an old TV show from the 60s, which basically is a Wild Wild West, is like a martial, basically a secret service in the West, and there's some science fiction trappings, a bit more steampunky, inventors, things like that. It was a show starring Robert Conrad. It went on for a while, people really enjoyed it, there's a lot of nostalgia for it, and then they're going to make a film of it. And because that was what they were doing at the time, they were doing stuff like The Fugitive, Mission Impossible, they were all working, then a lot of bad ones came out and failed horribly. And this was one of the big budget ones that came out that everyone thought this one probably should work. Because they cast Will Smith, who was in a big role at the time. They put Barry Sonnenfeld in charge of it. Barry Sonnenfeld was going off a good run at the time. He'd made 2 Addams Family films, and Get Shorty and Men in Black 1 at the time. So he was in a run of films that worked commercially, critically. I mean, it was pretty much a safe bet that he'd probably make a good film. Even though this film's a bit weird, but we had it was a steampunk film, I was like, okay, this could be quite good, because it seemed to fit in with his weird comic timings. Unfortunately, they decided to try and make it an action movie at the same time, and John Peters, the producer of Batman and various other films, was the producer. And apparently it was not the most fun time on set, because he had certain things he liked, like giant spiders, lots of spiders, and the script was a disaster. The script just does not work, the script makes no sense, and lots of levels. But all of that's a real problem. All that really torpedoes the film, but makes it worse than the cast Will Smith in the lead part. And he does not work in this film at all. This is like a screeching disaster of casting. This is like such terrible casting. He's trying to put Will Smith at that time, who was very smart ass, cocky, at the peak of his film stardom, you know, not much modesty there. Putting him in this part was the biggest disaster ever, because it was set in the just post-Civil War, lots of racists, lots of slavery jokes, and this film was completely tone deaf about it. I mean, basically, a Secret Service agent wouldn't be black this time, or if they were, you'd have to do a lot of careful explanation and really work it carefully out there. But I mean, you know, black bounty hunters, black people doing a lot of things from the north, but it needed careful explanation. Like if you look at Hateful Eight, whether you like it or not, Samuel Jackson as a bounty hunter makes sense in that film post-Civil War, because they explain it in a decent way. And they show the dangers of him in this profession at that time. It's set up. This film doesn't do any of that. This film does not have a clue. So the main plot basically is they find out that they're trying to hunt. It's a start of Wild Wild West, where we're meeting the 2 main characters, Artemis, who's the inventor, and Jim West, who's the hero guy, played by Will Smith, and Kevin Kline plays Artemis, the inventor. They meet up, hate each other instantly, and then they go on an adventure to stop Kenneth Branagh's racist villain, from splitting up the United States into different territories, and he would profit off it because he's all this new technology. That could have been a decent enough story if they'd cast it and written it properly. They didn't. Like, at all. They spent all the money on the special effects and on the production design. The production design looks gorgeous. Throughout, production design in this film is gorgeous. They spent a fortune in this thing. And at least it's lovely to look at. But the story and the setup doesn't give anybody any chance to actually show what they can do. Because for a start, they've made it an action movie. Instead of having a comedy with a lot of action in it, make it an action movie with supposed comedy in it. And Barry Sonnenfeld's not an action director. He's a comedy director. His action scenes are built to have jokes in them. He doesn't take the threat seriously, ever. Even in Men in Black, the threat isn't really threatening. It's just a bit of fun to get to the next bit. But it's not really a threat. In this film, you have all these action scenes where you have no sense of threat. And because the way the script's been written, there's no sense of anything. There's no sense of comedy, no sense of anything. It's just these things that happen. So they miscast the director by casting a comedy director in an action film. So instead of basically saying, okay, you do comedy, so we'll tone all the action down and make it a comedy with little bits of action, and we'll tone down the action to let you be funny. They don't do that. They have tons of action. Second half of the film is tons of action, and it's action. You know, and it's boring action because it's like action as if to say you're meant to take it seriously, and the direction doesn't show that. Direction doesn't have any A to B to C of this leads to this, this leads to this, this leads to this, and here are the tension points that will make you interested. Instead, all the action beats happen, but they happen in a very samey way that would be fine if you have jokes in them, but there's no jokes in them. There's just these samey action bits that lead to A to B to C, but without any sense of variation to make you interested. Plus, you don't have a character you like to make you interested, which is the worst part. But generally, the direction of it's always like all the shots seem to last at the same amount of time. There's no sense of importance placed in anything specific to make you get to the next action beat and be interested. It's that problem you get with a bad action movie where you're not interested because the action has no impact. In this film, the action has no impact whatsoever. And things just happen and they get to the end of the action scene and you go, well, that happened. Well, because you know they're not taking it seriously. But there's no jokes in there either, so it's... That's the least of this film's problems, though. The worst thing though is Will Smith, because he just doesn't have a character to play, but he's also at the peak of his stardom, where he just had he's had Bad Boys, Independence Day, he's had Enemy of the State, he's had Men in Black. Every film he's had has been a big hit. Leading up to this, where he crashed and burned and was like, just you be you and we'll figure the rest around you. And I'm sure he believed them, and he probably shouldn't have, because what they built around him was a disaster. So that happened. He went back to normal after this film. We went from this to Ali for Michael Mann. So obviously he got the idea of making this film that something had gone south badly. And he had to kind of reset a little bit. But he doesn't have a character though. He's either cocky, the cocky kind of James Bonding type character, but he doesn't have any dialogue for that because there's never any situations threatening for him allowed to be smart arse and interesting way with. The way Connery was, he just talks a lot. And he blathers on and blathers on and blathers on. But he doesn't have anyone to play against. Like in Men in Black, he had Tommy Lee Jones to play against. He could go off in weird tangents and Tommy Lee Jones would just look at him and it was funny. And the interaction between them made him funnier because he had to really work for the jokes with Tommy Lee Jones around. And it was just an interesting tension with those two that really worked. This one he's got Kevin Kline, and those two do not get on in the film, and there's no chemistry between them. There's just none. Kevin Kline is good in this film. He's very professional. You feel he knows he's in a disaster, but he's trying to be professional. I will do my job, I will get paid, I will get through this. whatever. That's the impression I get from Kevin Kline. It's the same with Kenneth Branagh. You get the feeling he's going through this. He's like, this is not working, but I'm going to get to the end, and I will try my best. But you know, with those two, you get a sense of the professional. You know, they'll do their best. I mean, Kline's the best part of the film by a mile. He's a lot of fun with his inventions. Even when they're not that witty, he makes them feel wittier than they actually are. You know, because this whole thing about fake breasts and things, and which is a really bad scene, but he almost makes it work. There's just lots of bad jokes that he has that he does his best to make work. He's the closest there is to making anything work. Will Smith, on the other hand, doesn't have that. He's maybe a smart aleck, but then there's other scenes where you find out his tragic past that do not line up with the smart aleck Will Smith character. It's like, I mean, through this, why a smart aleck? There's this tragic past of his parents being killed in this mass murder that Branagh was involved with, and it's a set up so he wants to kill Branagh. But the darkness there is not reflected throughout the rest of the film. All the bad jokes, all the anything. It's like two drafts just shoved together. And there's like 4 writers in this film, and you suspect there's like 10 other ones behind the scenes. The first set of writers were the guys who wrote Tremors. So they're the first credited writers, but I'm sure they weren't the last, because I think they must have written an early draft that had a lot of the plot stuff in there that they kept. Because the plot stuff could be worked into a decent enough film with steampunk. But that's if they'd done it a totally different way. I mean, the steampunk stuff works as well, because it's tied to Kevin Kline character. And you're feeling Barry Sonnenfeld really enjoys all that stuff. There's scenes with him, with these guys playing music, and they're in these paintings as if they're in a painting, even though that's at the painting are actually a stage. There's other guys who are henchmen who are in these paintings who have actually got guns at work. That stuff is Barry Sonnenfeld stuff. It looks good. There's stuff with the trains that have all these gadgets. All that stuff works. And every so often you get like 10 seconds of something that works, and then we go to something that doesn't work. Basically, if Will Smith's in the film, there's a chance the scene's not working. If it's Kevin Kline, there's a chance the scene's working. If it's Kevin Kline and Will Smith, there's a chance 50-50. Depends who's got the most of the scene. But Will Smith does not work in this film at all. And his hair changes all the time. It's either short or long, but it's like no any consistency. It's really weird. It's like you film these reshoots and panic reshoots and all the rest of it. It just does not look right. And he's trying, but there's nothing to do in this film. This film was a disaster. And he's nothing to say, there's nothing to react against. And that's a big problem with Barry Sonnenfeld as well. His characters in the past, and even films made after this, were about characters who react to an insane world. They may look a bit crazy, but they're reacting to insane things around them. In this film, your lead characters are non-existent. They're just attitude, but they don't have actually any basis in reality. Reacting to a situation that's completely outlandish, there's nothing to actually say about it, it's just like, who made this up? There's nothing to parody because the situation's so outlandish. It's not been grounded, and even Men in Black, you know these aliens, but they were acting against New York and all the things that happen in New York. So it's aliens versus New York, and it worked. Big Shot, the Get Shorty was the gangsters in in Hollywood. Addams Family dealing with real life. They'd always had something two extremes acting against each other. This one is just things happen. There's no place for humour, so things just happen. And it's just an action story rather than a comedic setup. And you've had a director who's a comedian who doesn't have a clue what he's doing. And all these action scenes aren't working. They try to be funny, but they're not working. They only ever really work is when Sonnenfeld has a weird steampunk thing to do and he's suddenly really interested because it's something that interests him, it seems. But the rest of the time he's just stuck with this film that doesn't work. And there's all these jokes about racism that are terrible, that are just awful, and it's just embarrassing to watch. And then you get to the end. The end is The worst thing in the film was a John Peters special because he was heavily insisted on Will Smith being in drag doing a sexy dance with Kenneth Branagh. Apparently, that sexy dance is terrible. It's one of the things the director said, I did not want that. I was overruled. And it's awful because Kevin Kline was in drag earlier on, but they set up the idea that drag wasn't very good. And this one you met actually Will Smith looks like a good looking woman, and he doesn't. It's awful. And then you've got the massive spider that can attack things, and so they've set up all this technology as if they can sell this technology to all these people. And instead of having a whole arena of, you know, weaponry that could really look scary, it would have to be blown up somehow. They put it all into one big giant spider, and it's like, what? This is stupid. This is really stupid. And you're watching this and you're meant to be getting something from this scene, and you're just looking at it like, this is the dumbest thing ever. And again, John Peters is something for giant spiders apparently. So it was, the last third of this film is just awful. It's just so awful. Whatever goodwill you get in the first 2/3 of a film that's not really working, but it's not really horrible. It's bad, but there's nice little bits in between. It gets totally destroyed last third. It's just awful. So there, this film's a mess. This film's a total mess in every possible way. But it's not the worst. I mean, I've seen Battlefield Earth, and that is so much worse than this film. But this is bad. This is really bad. Bizarre story. I saw this at the Edinburgh Film Festival. I was in between Robert Bresson films. I felt like a break and watch a big stupid film. So when I see this, and it's the exact opposite of any Robert Bresson film, obviously. So yeah, this is the Wild Wild West. It's just awful, but bizarrely interesting because I quite like Barry Sonnenfeld as a director. I mean, he does some trash, to be honest. He's done some bad films, and this was his first like real like trash heap he did. But on his day he can be fun. He can make some fun films on his day, but he has some off days too. But this one's a disaster. So I hope you enjoyed this. We're back soon, like next week with some more videos. I'll see you then. Bye for now.